This podcast may contain views and opinions which are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any local agency, organization, union, employee, or company, including the podcast.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome back to the show. Off the clock shop talk. Obviously, you see we're in a different little position here. We've kind of got a litlittle comfortable. Let's say that.
We're comfy.
Sabas is on hiatus for the day. I'm gonna, go ahead and say fuck Sabas.
Fuck Sabas. If you guys have seen him, let us
we
know.
love you.
He's
we
missing.
love you. We miss you. I don't know where you're at. Whatever. All right, bro. Well, just welcome back. Like I said, we'll say it right in the beginning of the show. We appreciate you guys tuning in every week. Like, subscribe, share. Shares are our biggest thing, right?
Definitely share.
I've been sharing the show like crazy, I'm sure if you are watching and you are one of, my friends, I probably sent you the show just because, hey, I want everybody to get involved. And that's the whole purpose of this show, just to get involved in union business, to get involved in your contracts, whether you're a Albertsons member, a CVS member, a UPS member,
Pepsi,
Southern
Coke,
Wine and Spirits,
Southern Wine
Pepsi,
Spirits,
Coke.
yeah.
If you're a Teamster, we want you to be involved. That's the point. Yeah. And we want everybody to be envious, and we want everybody to want to be Teamsters. I think I said that last week on the show. And we want to have the best union and the best involvement, really. I mean, we want to see some active members. The labor climate's changing. I hope you guys,
drastically. It's changing drastically.
It is. And I hope you guys understand where you are and what we're trying to do here. Without kind of belaboring the point, we kind of wanted to get into what we wanted to talk about this week. And that's contract, I'm going to say the S word, but strike.
Shit.
What to expect, all that kind of good stuff. And we're not going to go over everything. There's a lot to go over here, but we kind of wanted to get into, what's going on. Like, I know I get a lot of questions all the time. What's going on? What are we doing? What's going on in negotiations? Yeah. I've had countless calls and text messages. Hey, how are the negotiations going? How is this? How is that? And as
Everyone
of right
wants
now,
insider baseball. Yeah.
right? As of right now, we've only, as far as here, right, because we're doing supplemental agreements first as far as negotiations. As of right now, we've only had 1 week of negotiations. We've kind of just went over proposals and whatnot from both sides, just kind of get the temperature, right, of where we're at, how far we are apart. It is what it is, and there's not much I'm going to say about where we are and how far we are apart, more about what to expect, what's next. And really, in all honesty, the way I look at it is the company's taking a temperature just like we are. And they want to see involvement. They want to see how active the members are, how cohesive the members are. There's a lot that goes into it, right? So when we're out there asking you to sign pledge cards, and when we're out there, which is coming, by the way, so in a couple weeks we will be out at all the yards asking people, to sign pledge cards in regard to the UPS contract. I'll tell you that right now. So, and the company sees this. Everybody is watching, and I keep saying that over and over every week, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and the thing is, the company's always watching. It's not like they're only watching during a contract year. They're watching even when it's off season.
Yeah.
They want to see the involvement of the union to see if, is it going to be a threat in the next upcoming contract? That's why they always throw they throw us curveballs, off season. They're like, hey, we're going to see how the union's doing here. So they start, that's why they have the whole flavor of the week thing.
Yeah. Well, I think I call it flavor of the month. Yeah. Usually they'll go about a month, but if you've been with UPS or honestly any union shop, really you'll have those, right? Flavor of the month. Management comes down, and it usually probably rolls down from way up top. Management comes down and says, hey, this month we are hitting on appearance guidelines, or we are hitting on...
That guy's mustache is too low. I'm just waiting for them because they have you ever seen the actual measurement for it? It's like a piece of paper and like it measures like.
No, really?
I've seen it one time.
I've never seen it.
It made me laugh so much.
If
I find it, I'll put it up right here.
The rule of thumb that I think we went before we were allowed to have beards, and this is with UPS, right? And I don't know, other companies obviously have different appearance guidelines, but at UPS, if you're a driver, facial hair was part of the appearance guidelines.
Yes.
So it was a mustache below the corners of the mouth. Like,
couldn't go
below, right? It had to be I should say mustaches above the corner of the mouth. That's what you were allowed to have.
Like highway cop.
Yes. No goatees, no beards, none of that. And then COVID hit, and I don't know about for you. So
I think that's definitely when they started making a change because drivers were already starting to complain. They were complaining about a lot of things, like tats. Like you have a lot of tats.
Yes,
and that's an expression of
a few tattoos.
That's an expression of yourself.
Yeah.
Your facial hair is also an expression of yourself. That's who you want to be. So like a lot of people were complaining to the company that, hey, I want to express myself as, and those guidelines were established a long time ago. I mean,
yeah.
Like what? Like almost 100 years ago was like the whole facial hair. It could only be the mustache. You can't have any tattoos weren't even really a thing then.
Yeah, I mean, they were, but that was like the people on the outskirts, right? So yeah, I think during COVID is right when they I wouldn't say they got a little more lax, but there was a lot of issues, right? There was they made us wear masks, and I'm sure they did within a lot of companies because it was current CDC guidelines, which is usually what the company goes off of. I know we had some grievances in regard to the company actually following current CDC guidelines, like they weren't all the time. But that being said, they that was, for the most part, that was the standard, right? Current CDC guidelines was what the company should have been going off of. So, with the whole mask wearing, me personally, I took the time, and I have
it
fairly.
Doesn't bug me, dude. Like I don't have a big beard like you, so the mask thing never bugged me.
Well, no. I'm more referring to the shaving, right? So it was mandatory for us to shave because we could only have the mustache. For me, I look weird with just a mustache.
If you have stubble like this,
yeah. So I was shaving almost every day, really.
I do every 2 days.
Only one way because it gets so irritated if you shave both ways. I mean, if you
shave both ways, good luck to you.
Look, I mean, when I would go out, wherever. I would shave both ways because it's smooth, super smooth, right? But at the same time, you can't shave both ways every day. There's no way.
You get those ingrowns.
So I would shave, one way almost every day. It was annoying. So when we went to masks, I just stopped shaving. That is actually when I grew this glorious, luscious beard.
It's pretty glorious. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could grow a beard like that. My beard, it looks like I'm Amish, where it's all patchy and shit. I tried it one time, and I'm like, I guess goat for me forever.
I mean, honestly though, like it took a while to get to where I liked it.
Do you use like the stuff like the beard creams and the lotions?
I got into it a little bit. You got
a little
where I would
comb?
use the beard butter or whatever.
Oh, okay. The butter.
I do keep a comb for my beard. Like in my car all the time. That's like mandatory.
That's
like I gotta brush it because sometimes it'll be all wild. Every now and then, I'll have like a crazy hair that'll be like sticking out, and I can see it in my peripheral. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I hate this.
Fuck you and your beard. I'm out.
But anyways, during COVID, right? They kind of pushed, or they I guess got lax because we were all wearing masks. You know what I mean? So it's irritating as it is. So I just kind of stopped shaving. That's when I grew the beard. But that being said, we were back to like flavor of the month. They're always pushing something, right? They're always pushing, whether it's attendance. I've seen that come down. Those of you guys that are late, can't be late, Those are you guys that are, not coming to work or whatever. And, as a steward, as even a friend, I would tell people, dude, like, you're going to get yourself in trouble, bro. Like,
in trouble. Yeah.
Like, it's not worth it. To me, I always, especially as a steward, but even before, I like to just, like, fly under the radar. That was my whole thing. Like, I want to fly under the radar. Now, that didn't mean, like, not filing grievances or, exercising my rights, but it meant more of just, like, kind of just going along to get along. If it's something that's in the contract that, like, I guess appearance or something that they could really enforce, like, I would go ahead and just kind of follow suit. It is what it is. You got to play the game, right?
Yeah.
And that's one thing, I don't know about you, that's one thing I've talked to a lot of drivers about, and even older drivers. And this is,
I got a lot
shout
of
out
that.
to older drivers, who's been doing it a long time and who've gone through.
There's definitely some respect there.
Yeah,
and
who've gone through way more than
they've gone through a lot, but there are some that's just like they don't want to exercise their rights.
So, like I was saying, flavor of the month, you just kind of got to play ball, in my opinion. You got to do. Anyways, back to the show. Like we were saying, just appearance, not only appearance guidelines, but the flavor of the month. For me, I always just like to play ball. It is what it is.
Play ball for sure.
You got to learn to play the game. I talk to a lot of older drivers.
You got to pick the battles.
Yeah.
You got to pick the battles.
Back to kind of playing the game, like I do run into a lot of people a lot of drivers, a lot of members, even long-term members that really don't know how to play the game. Yeah. That's kind of weird to me. Like
I also think that's part of no one knew how to play the game because the old administration didn't teach them how to do it. I didn't learn until recently.
Fuck. We'll do it live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Anyways, so I've run into a lot of drivers that like don't know how to play the game, and I'm like, look, guy, you gotta do this and do that to kind of fly under the radar. Like there's a lot of stuff that us as drivers or you and your shop, you got to know how to play the game, and you got to find somebody within your within your craft, within your building, within your yard that knows what they're doing and how to really, quote unquote, play the game. That I we use that term a lot. And I don't know if you might not know what it is. Playing the game is really learning how to exercise your rights without, going over the line. Yeah. Right. So over the line
without
where
incriminating yourself.
Exactly. Where you're going to get in trouble or we're going to do this or that.
Yeah.
And one thing that we've been trying to, I guess I've been trying to express to drivers and to members is that you got to learn how to, I should say, express your rights without getting yourself in trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Express your rights without getting yourself in trouble.
So, I mean, we talked about the facial hair, right? Obviously, we talked about the glorious beard. But that being said, like during the COVID thing, I think stuff changed a lot.
A lot changed. COVID. A lot changed during COVID.
Yeah. So we were, I grew out the beard at that point. Tattoos, I actually got in trouble one time. A supervisor hit me up. We'll do a little story time. During COVID, I grew out the beard because we were wearing masks, right? Especially in the building. And I wouldn't wear them outside of the building. I'm going to be honest, right?
But I never wore it out.
I played the game.
If I'm outside, I'm not wearing it, dude.
Right? But I played the game. I played the game.
Yeah.
Right? So I would wear it in the building. Every time I was in the building, for sure, I don't want to hear it, right? So I'd play the game. I'd wear the mask.
Wear it in the building.
And then outside of the building, I wouldn't wear it. So I had a manager one time, and he knew that I had a facial hair under there. And he asked me,
Were you wearing like an Al Qaeda beard that covered the whole face?
no, it was still fairly short. Like, you know, I was just in the process of growing it out.
Okay.
And he was like, well, I want to see under your mask. And I said, no,
No.
it's not safe.
It's not safe, bro.
It's not safe, right?
You're not 6 feet away, and you're not.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, I'm not taking my mask off.
I'm not taking it off.
I'm not taking it off. And he was like, take it off. And I was like, nope, I'm not taking it off. What are you going to do? This is your policy.
He was asking
for
you to take
my
off your
safety.
mask.
You know, I use his
Go
own words.
fuck yourself, dude.
I was using his own words against him. And I'm like
no one would not make out
or his
with
own
you.
policy against him. And I'm like, no, I'm not taking my mask off. I'm not taking it off. It's for my safety. It's for your safety. And
It's
I'm not
for
taking
everyone's
it off.
safety.
Yeah. So after that is when they kind of let loose. They actually changed the policy officially.
Yeah.
Right. They changed
Which I
the
think
policy.
That's a step in the right direction. You got to think the guideline, the appearance guidelines have been put into place since like 1920s. It's like 100.
Honestly, I don't even know when they
I'm
were.
pretty sure they were put in place then. You know,
Really, in the 1920s.
I'm almost positive. If not, we'll put it right here.
And I know that they've, you know, throughout the years, like beards, I think in the 80s, right, were really popular. So I
Beards
wonder
have
what
always been popular.
Well, there's
the
been
thing
times
is,
where they go out of style and they come back in style.
The thing is, not everyone can grow a beard. Beards are always in. Always in.
In all honesty, in my opinion, this is completely my opinion. You could fucking beat me up for it. I don't really care. But some guys can't grow a nice beard, and it looks like shit.
Yeah.
And
Can't.
it looks like shit. And I'm like, well, you know, yeah, maybe if you're driving, you're supposed to be the face of the company, whatever.
Shave that scraggly shit.
Yeah, you look like shit, bro.
You look fucking horrible.
You know, like
No, exactly. I grew out a beard for No Shave November. November. I did that, and it was like about a month. I'm like, let's give it one more month. And I did it until December, and it still didn't like fill in. I'm like, all right, it's not for me. I can't grow a beard.
That's weird because I mean, your stubble at least
I have
looks like
I have a good goatee, and I have the stubble to fill it in nicely, but like it doesn't like fill up. It's still kind of patchy in a weird way.
You just gotta keep going.
You gotta massage
growing
it.
it.
Gotta massage it.
Yeah, throw some beard butter in there. It might work.
Some butter.
But so, anyways, you know, obviously that's what happened with me. You know, with the beard thing, and then they changed their policy, and then I had a beard, and it was nice. By then, I had already been wearing it anyways. It didn't fucking matter at that point. So back to flavor of the month. We've kind of been flip flopping a little bit, but flavor of the month. Wait. Let me just. I don't think we officially did yet. We are off the clock. So, hey, cheers. And next segment or whatever you want to call it. You know, I kind of wanted to get into a little bit of contract, right?
Definitely want
we
to
talked
get into contract
playing
stuff.
the game. We talked about the F word, flavor of the month. I said it too many times already. So we wanted to kind of switch gears and talk about contract stuff, where we are. I think we did talk about it a little bit in the show, right? In the beginning of the show.
We did talk a little bit about the beginning.
But just where we are, what we're doing, what's next. So obviously, like I said earlier, we've been through 1 week of negotiations, went through proposals, you know, but other than that, we really haven't, you know, done much. We haven't. And the following week, I know once this is released, we'll have been in a week of Southwest negotiations.
Yeah,
right?
Southwest.
So those who don't know, your contract is broken up into.
I think it's like 7 parts, right? Is it more than 7?
It's like it's kind of hard to explain.
Because it's the
really,
national, the Southwest, the Western region.
So the way it goes is this: the national master.
Yeah, national
right?
master.
So you have your national master contract. For us, it's the Western region supplemental.
Yeah, Western region.
And then there's the Southwest package rider, which deals with
feeder. Is that feeder, right?
No, with drivers,
I guess.
you know, right? And then you have the Southwest sort rider, which deals with inside, right? So you have the Southwest has 2 parts. You have the Western region supplemental, and then you have the national.
How do those negotiations go?
So I'll explain that.
Okay.
But after that, then you have like your work rules for feeder. So you have your feeder work rules.
Okay.
You have your automotive addendum, and I think there's one more that I'm
I'm pretty sure there's one more.
So, anyways, you know, we might
Maybe somebody
clarify
off
a little
camera
bit.
can let us know.
What the fuck? Thank you. Fuck. We'll do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live.
No. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Anyways, so you have these parts of the contract, the supplemental and the sort and package riders are going to be all done before, or I should say, all started before the National Master this year.
Yes.
So before they did it a little different, I think there was some issues with people's riders and supplementals that weren't jiving, with the national. So I think they want us to get that done.
Can you explain
first.
exactly?
The supplemental and the rider really have to do with, like, I guess area specific. They're a little bit more regionally specific to what your rules and your guidelines.
The guidelines for that specific area.
Exactly. So it's the contract to kind of clarify the national. Obviously, the national master has like the say
So
for
really
the most
quick,
part.
so does national cover like the United States plus also
Canada.
Yes. Okay.
So supplemental contracts, we obviously, this year, I should say, we didn't do that in 2018 or in 2013.
No.
But supplementals will be done first because there were some issues last time where supplementals kind of weren't jiving with the national master. So I think Sean wants to get the supplementals done first and then move on to the national master in April. So he'll start that negotiations. National negotiations will be in April.
Okay.
So that being said, with the supplementals, we're, like I said, we're negotiating those now. We've done 1 week of the Western region supplemental and start the Southwest package and sort rider next week.
Okay.
So we'll give
us
updates on all that stuff.
Can you give us any insight into who's sitting on that or no? Or does that have to be?
As far as chairs, yes. So chairs, good thing, right? So both of our guests, the prior 2 weeks, are the chairs. Victor is the chair for the Southwest.
Victor Maneros is
the chair for the Southwest. And 952 guys, your ST, your Secretary Treasurer for 952, is going to be co-chairing the Southwest. So he's going to be there with Vic along with Carla Schumann from 104 from Arizona. So they're kind of, all, and obviously there's a whole committee, but they're kind of going to be the point people.
Okay.
So there's that. And then for the West is Mark Davison. Mark Davison is the chair for the West.
I love
Vic
Mark.
is I know, right? The Mark show, if you guys haven't checked out the Mark Davison show, watch the fucking Mark Davison show. Dude, fucking awesome.
He's fucking
He's a character. He's a real person. And, by bringing these people on, in my opinion, we're really kind of showing that we are all just people. Right? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, dude, like we get so much...
We get so much bullshit,
hate and bullshit.
And it's like we're all people.
Criticism.
At
the end of the day, I'm just a fucking
That's
dude,
the thing on both ends. We're people on the union end. We're people on the company end. So it's like you need to understand that people
fuck
are
the company, but,
I get
it.
I'm just saying people are people.
Fuck those
and they're gonna make fucking mistakes, and they're gonna fucking they have fucking feelings and all this shit. So it's like just like people are people.
Yeah. No, I get it, and really, we all need to recognize that sometimes. Where a lot of our hate is misplaced. Now, granted, if someone fucks you over, like I feel like, we did.
That does happen, yeah.
The last contract, and that's just my opinion, whatever. Yeah. You can have some righteous anger and disappointment in your union and in your company.
A little vengeful.
Right? I get it. I totally get it. At the same time, we always say that, like, what are you doing? What are you doing at home? Like, what are you doing to get involved, to share your opinion? And I don't mean net banging. I'm being like genuine where I say like, what are you doing to get
Show up to the hall.
involved, to show up, to express your even
voice.
anger, your voice, your opinions, like where you think things should
See
go.
what's happening with your local, because I know like in 952 we got like John has he's got Teamster Tuesdays, Teamster Thursdays. See what your local is doing. You know, if they have something that you can be involved in that's only takes minutes out of your day, but like increases like the Teamster value. Like just take part, see what's happening, know what's going on with not just with just your building. Like, because I'm sure they're gonna discuss things that are happening also outside of your local, not just in there.
Yeah. And when you're talking about specifically when you're talking about like contract stuff, you know, the stuff for the Southwest is going to affect everybody in the Southwest. The stuff in the West, you know, in the Western Supplemental is going to affect everybody within the whole Western region. Right, so you're talking about a lot of locals. I mean, you're talking about
also maybe
NorCal.
Maybe this inspires other locals, like from different barns, to have their own Teamster Tuesday. They have their own Teamster Thursday.
And that, you know? I mean, I will say, I put it on the BAs because you are really like almost, in all honesty, you are the face of the union to your members.
Yes,
because your ST's not getting out there every day. He's busy. Like they got their own job. But as far as BAs, you are the face of your local to your union, to your members, I should say.
To the
right.
Members.
So like you are the face of the union to the members. So that being said, you really need to, you know, show that you care. And I tell, you know, I've said it a bunch of times within the, you know, within my Teamster Tuesdays, within meetings we've held, is that I am a member just like you. I just got off the truck for me a year ago when I took, you know, the BA job, but I just got off the truck. So this contract, and at any point I could go back. So this contract is my contract. I'm worried about what's going to happen. I'm invested in what's going to happen. I am taking time out of, you know, from my family and from
I'm
me
also thinking,
and
just
you
talking
know,
from a personal like point is like, I haven't seen representation like this. And like I've been with the company for 18 years now, soon to be 19, and haven't seen anything like this. And I appreciate the fuck of how much like you and also Sabas like for representing the part-time, you know, for the we got representation now. The members are staying informed, you know, for 952, for Anaheim, and for the Laguna building. And I really appreciate that because, like, we didn't have that before. And now, like, I know kind of where I stand, like, as a union member. And I really appreciate
you know what it is to be a union member. And that's, you know, we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
And I won't, you know, beat a dead horse too much, but I really do feel like I'm part of the union at this point, you know, and I did when I started getting involved and I started, like Sabas, you know, the phrase that Sabas coined, right, is invest in yourself. When I started investing in myself and I started really caring, and someone was there to kind of push me along, you know, to get me involved. And that's what we're trying to do here. But when that happened for me, like I felt like I was part of the union. And we have another saying that we like to say is one member at a time. I'm not going to get everybody.
We can't.
I'm really not. You know, so let's just say at my Teamster Tuesday, I'll give an example, right? I have a total of maybe 350 drivers max, right? In the Laguna building.
Yeah.
So I have about 350 drivers. I do this meeting I hold every Tuesday. And I call it Teamster Tuesday. Shout out to Vic Mineros for that idea.
Vic Mineros.
But you know, I have this thing that I do, and I'll have about anywhere from 50 to 75-ish drivers there every week, right? And I'm thinking that's good. Like it's good from where I started, from where we started.
Yeah.
You know, as a local, but I'm like, where's everybody else? You know,
That's always been my biggest concern is how uninvolved a lot of the members are. So it's like there's nothing but complaints. You know, there's nothing but complaints about like what the union does for me, but they don't also participate. And this is what I try to iterate to a bunch of the drivers is like, you're the union. You do need to make an effort to go to these meetings. You do need to make an effort to acknowledge yourself on what's happening in the local, what's happening with the whole like Teamster union as a whole. Like it's your duty.
Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, I think sometimes, you know, we've talked about it in the past, but I think sometimes you don't want to get involved, or you don't want to give up your time and invest in yourself until it affects you personally.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately.
And I feel like it's always too late when that happens.
Well, sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not, you know, but, you know, coming up on this big contract season, we got this thing going on with UPS, right?
Yeah.
I think that, you know, it's going to affect a lot more people than it usually does, because I'm not saying, or I'm not hoping or at all, but if we do go on strike at UPS, it's going to affect a lot of people, and you're going to kind of see, you know, what's going on.
Yeah. And I know I've talked about this before, like on the show, like I've talked to people who were in the strike previous and how it affected them negatively. You know?
Yeah. And it's tough. It's not tough. Strike is not something that anybody wants. I don't want to go on strike.
I mean,
at all.
Technically, both sides don't want the strike to happen. Like, technically, both sides
it will affect the business. They will lose money.
Yeah.
We will lose money. It's going to affect everybody. But at the end of the day, you know, I tell my members, if the company decides to say, you know, basically fuck you and take everything that you have, and take your you know, the language that we have, and take your benefits and your pay, and not address the inflation that's going on.
It's crazy. They've had
and all that stuff.
Such high profit years in the last 3 years.
Yeah. But if the company doesn't want to do that, if they don't want to address all these issues, these, you know, grievances you have, they don't really want to address that, then what do we do? And in my opinion, you have to be ready to withhold your labor.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be ready to say, you know what, enough is enough. We're not going to be Amazon with no benefits, with shitty pay, with, you know, the production standards that they have, which they've been implementing at UPS.
Yeah.
And that's something that needs to be addressed. And, you know, we're doing that within negotiations, and we're doing that, you know, just on the shop floor, as we address these things, you know. But if you're not willing to stand up and fight for what you believe you deserve, and they're willing to take everything from you, then what do you have? You know, and it's something that I've talked to my, you know, members about, and they're like, well, we can't go on strike. We can't afford to go on strike. We can't afford to lose the business. And I always tell them, okay, what if the company wants to take everything from you? What if they don't want to pay the wages that you deserve? What if they don't want to address inflation? What if they don't want to address the shitty harassment and work environment that's happening? Well, what if they don't want to?
Them, right?
What if they don't want to? Then what do we do? What do we do? You know, in my opinion, you fucking stand up and you fight. You stand up and you grab your fucking, you know, excuse me for, you know, and I don't mean this. I know we have female employees, but grab your fucking and fucking fight. That's what we do. That's what we do. But, you know, I mean, the company sees all these little things. If you don't want to go into a strike, you better be at every fucking Teamster Tuesday. You better be at every rally, because the company's watching. If you don't want to go on strike and you're serious, like I can't afford a strike, or I can't, you know, this and that, I really don't want to, you better show every ounce of involvement that you have, because the company's watching, because corporate America's watching. All the other laborers out there are watching. You don't think Amazon employees are watching what's going to happen at UPS? Amazon is watching.
It's going to affect them. It's
1,000%.
Affect them 1,000%.
Because, and I guarantee you, Amazon management is watching, because they're looking at it like, fuck, if these guys get a badass fucking contract, we're going to have to come out of pocket and pay our employees more, because they're going to see what UPS got, and they're going to go,
they're going to move.
Yeah. They're definitely going to move. So if you guys don't think, and like I said, if you guys don't want to strike, you guys better get involved.
Yeah.
Get involved.
None
Come
of
to
this
your
off the
membership
radar
meetings.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Jump in.
File grievances if you're violated. If there's a contract violation. Hold your managers accountable just like they hold us accountable.
They hold us accountable. You need to hold them accountable.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's kind of continue with the vein we're going on. But like what can we expect in a strike? I hate saying the S word, but what can we expect in a strike or just in a union or excuse me, just in a contract season, right? What can we expect in a contract season? And I'll tell you right off the bat, UPS is already coming out with bad publicity, with and we'll touch on all these topics, but bad publicity.
The company has bad publicity
towards us, right? Towards the members, and I'll explain a little bit.
Members, okay.
But they've been coming out with the bad publicity. They've been coming out with their scare tactics, like they always do. I know we talked about flavor of the month, but even going further than flavor of the month, just like the poise and position that they've taken.
Okay. And
they're going to take a harder stance on certain things. And like I said, we'll address all these, but the bad publicity, the harder stance on things, the harassment, the work environment, everything during a contract season is going to kind of escalate. Right. So let's talk about the bad publicity. Let's talk about that. I talked to a steward, a longtime steward. This member's been there for 35 plus years. Longtime steward, was there for the last contract. And he was like, I talked to a lot of members, and what I really want to get across to these members is that the bad publicity thing is huge, right? The company will try to get the public eye and try to make it seem like we are overpaid or we're greedy.
Overpaid.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm being serious, and I'm not just usually
so insulting just to hear.
For part-timers, I understand, because I understand that I feel like they are a little underpaid.
They're definitely
right?
underpaid.
So for them, I totally get it. But for the drivers,
what do they make contractually? They make
contractually the starting rate for part-timers right now is $15.50, right? So, and I totally understand. And
in this economy with the inflation,
yes,
get out of here.
And one thing also, I will say this, and it's something that I've said in the past, but we really do need to do a better job of explaining to these guys, the part-timers, what the totality of what they get is, and what the benefits provide for them, right? So like they get pension, they get medical, and these are things that they might not think of. Like when you're young, when you're 20 years old, you probably don't really have to go to the doctor.
I never thought about that when I fucking
first, so you're not really thinking about that.
You're
thinking about dollars.
Who gives a shit, dude?
You're thinking about dollars up front.
Yeah, you think about
but these are things that are afforded to you through the contract that are awesome, that total compensation wise is important. And we got to do a better job of explaining that to them. Now, they might not want that. They might just want dollars up front, which I don't think you understand what you're giving up, in my opinion, right? I don't think you understand what medical costs or what a pension is, when you get to your, 65 or 70 when you retire.
Is ridiculous. I know we've covered some of the stuff in previous episodes. Like medical costs can fucking go anywhere from like $0 all the way up to like fucking $1 million.
Yeah.
And then all you gotta do is copay.
Yeah. And that's one thing that, like you said, we've covered in, some of the other episodes, but that is one thing that we really need to do a better job of getting across. And I mean, the union, right, needs to explain to the members, like, yes, the starting rate is this, but you also get all these other benefits, right? And
but that doesn't mean we're not going to try and get them.
No. And I'm not saying try. We are going to get the part-timers more money. And I'll say that up front. It's a strike position that Sean has put out there. The part-timers are going to get more money.
They should be making more. They're the ones that are They're the ones that are like just basically molding the daily schedule. The part-timers put everything together. They take, at least from a UPS perspective, they take packages from a trailer, they load it, or they fucking unload it, sort it out, goes into the trailer, goes into the package car, they sort it out, they sort it, and that basically
sets up your
whole day as a driver.
Yeah.
Like,
and then at night, all the pickups you get, you bring them back and they unload them and they sort them and send them to the other buildings. And, so part-timers are very, very important. And
very important.
Like I said, one of the positions that Sean has taken is that we are going to get them more money. We are going to do more for them and address their concerns. Excuse me. But, that being said, obviously the drivers need more money. But what we were talking about really was the bad publicity that the company is going to put out, right? So the company in the past, so in the last strike, and this steward I was talking to really wanted me to iterate that, look, the company is going to put out bad press about you, the members, right? And they'll do that within any contract negotiation. They'll put out bad press, especially if they feel like you make a good wage or whatever. And I think we have a fair wage with that at UPS as a driver right now, as a feeder driver, especially. You guys, I think it's a fair wage, but it doesn't address the inflation and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So they'll put out, you are the highest paid labor within your field. And that is true if you are a UPS driver, if you're a UPS feeder driver. You are the highest paid within your field. You are as a delivery driver.
Fair. It's difficult though.
Yeah,
it's difficult. Not everyone can do it.
But like I'm saying, the company will put that out and try to get the public to not support you, and they're going to. So I hope and I've seen it on Facebook, on Instagram. Right, the company's already starting with their negative campaign towards their own employees, and they've already started to say that they're overpaid, they're this, they're that. Just in all honesty, they're just saying you're overpaid crybabies. And that's really what the company's saying.
Okay. Cool.
To me, it's like, I don't think the public understands the. So, I think the publicity side of things, the public view of things as we move through the contract, the company's going to basically try to make us look bad. But like we were saying that, the corporate America's watching, the laborers are watching, everybody's watching.
Everyone's watching.
So it's really important that you guys understand this and that, you take time and with your customers and with your even your family as they see this stuff out there, and you kind of spread our word. And I think, Sean and Fred, they're going to do their best to combat all that and show the side of UPS that maybe people don't want to see. I think we were kind of just discussing the work environment and things that we go through as workers. People might say, hey, they're overpaid or this and this and that. But at the end of the day, they don't understand the work standards that are put on us, the stress that is put on us as drivers and as warehouse workers. And they really don't understand what we go through. And I tell people all the time, I think I told the story last week about my son who was working 9 to 12 hours a day.
I'm not gonna lie,
with one
that
15-minute break.
In a fucking bad spot when I heard
one
that.
15-minute break.
That's horseshit.
Yeah. I mean,
bro, that hit me in a spot. I was like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
and that's my son. You know what I mean? I'm like,
but it's also like that's also a human being.
Yeah.
You're gonna make that guy work 12 hours, up to 12 hours with a 15-minute break.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. That's slave labor.
Yeah. And that's really labor. At the end of the day, whether you want to believe it or not, that is what corporate America is looking for. That is what these giant companies are looking for, is slave.
Well, that's also why they outsource
/ robot labor. That's what they're looking for. Period. Yeah. Slave / robot labor. They don't care about you. They don't care about your family time. a big thing for UPS, right, for a long time was, work-life balance. We want to give you guys a work-life balance. And then since the
don't get me
pandemic,
wrong, that's appreciated, but at the same time,
no. See, this is where I think we might differ. I don't.
Okay.
I think that was all grandstanding and what do you call that? That just kind of lip service, right? They're telling employees, we want you to have a work-life balance. We want you guys to get off early. And
no,
this
for
is
sure.
that. But they're working us 12.
That's a ploy on their side for
Yeah.
sure. But I do believe that there should be some kind of balance where employees can enjoy time with their family.
I agree. And I mean, I think, the Teamsters, we've done a lot to work towards that. There is, in our contract, there's the 9-5 language, right?
Yes.
Which you can file for 9-5. It's our excessive overtime protection. Right? So we have that language, but at the end of the day, they're trying to make us look bad when they're treating us like shit. And all the things that we deal with within UPS, and I'm sure you guys at your barns, you deal with some shit, and something that contracts need to address and that things, they have to do. But during this contract season, they always come out and try to make us look like shit, and so you guys got to be ready for that. I will say that I wanted to address a couple other things.
That's the thing is I'm not entirely sure how do they do this every single time? They make us look like we're taking advantage of them, but somehow they're going to come out on top. They're going to make $13 billion.
13.7, I think Vic said last week.
Yeah, it was 13.7 billion profit, and that's after
operating costs.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We want a company to be successful, to keep everyone employed, but to be that
greedy,
to be in that excess is ridiculous.
I mean, I get it. Look, at the end of the day, businesses are there to make money. I get that.
They're there to make money. We want them to make money because that's what keeps us employed.
But we want a fair wage to address the inflation, to address all these things. And the money's there, obviously. With $13.7 billion that they made as a company, I think they can share a piece of the pie, like Vic said last week, right? To cut a piece of the pie for us. I mean, we're not asking for the whole thing.
No.
We're not asking for you guys to not make profits. What we're asking for is to be treated fairly, to be compensated fairly.
Yeah, we help them make all that money, so it's like,
in
just
all
help
honesty,
us out a little bit.
In all honesty, we are making that money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I get there, there's management and there's some things that need to be kind of controlled and implemented, and they have a sales force and all that stuff. At the end of the day, we are the labor. We make the money. We deliver the end products to the customer, which makes the money.
100%.
We have the,
100%.
We've addressed it on the show
Like
before.
we said, we're the face of the company. People see us.
We have the relationship.
Yes.
The customers, 9 times out of 10, the customers are there because of us, because of the relationship that we have, because we're not the cheapest. UPS is
definitely
not the cheapest
no.
to deliver. So, for us, we really need to have that relationship to build that customer base, and UPS relies on us for all of this stuff,
for sure.
At a corporate level. They rely on their labor force. So to treat us fairly, to compensate us fairly is not a big ask. It really isn't, especially when you're making that much money. And those are the things we're going to be doing within the contract season. So let's kind of, jump forward to the next part of like what to expect. Obviously, like I said, we're going to expect the bad publicity. We're going to expect the company talking shit on us, right? But what else? What else can we expect? And I'll say something that, you might not know, but the company has been throttling volume. They have been pushing away volume that we could accept.
They did the same thing last contract too, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a contract thing. They'll push volume away that they can take and that we can deliver, and they can make operating profits and all this stuff. But that being said, they'll push that away because they want the public perception, or even the perception from us, that times are tough, and they can't give us that much in raises because
times are tough.
We're in a recession and people aren't shipping and this and this and that.
It sure wasn't that a month ago.
Yeah, not only a month ago, but look at what we did during COVID. I think we talked about that on the show.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah,
it's clearly a thing.
Yeah,
and it was a thing before.
Right, and it's just something that we're gonna have to deal with right now. And I know, like in our jurisdiction, right, there's a lot of feeder drivers that got sent back, and that's all because of the company. So I hope your anger is not misplaced, your frustrations are not misplaced with your union, because that's not something that the union wants. We don't want you to, a feeder driver to have to go back, or a cover driver to have to go back to the warehouse, or 2240 to get laid off or whatever. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
But the company will do that so they can show that we're struggling in this recession. Yeah, we just made $13.7 billion record profit year, but it's tough right now, so we don't know what we're going to be able to give you in this contract, and we're going to we're struggling and this and that. So
the struggling aspect fucking hurts. Like I hate hearing that. Struggling, really?
Yeah, $13.7 billion is not a lot of money these days, George.
Apparently.
I mean, it's a struggle. But like I said, they're going to throttle volume. They have been. We have a lot of reports, and this is just a story, right? I'll give you a story from one of our drivers. His wife works at the post office, right? So she works for USPS, and USPS is now getting pallets of Amazon stuff that was already earmarked for UPS, and they're having to relabel and send out through USPS instead of sending out through UPS, because the company's throttling volume. So it's easy for them. They just go in, their system, right, and say, okay, Amazon, I don't want the 2 million packages that you were going to send me for the week. I just want 500,000. So it's really easy for them. They just turn down the volume. And yes, they make less profits, but they're thinking, and they always have done a good job of thinking in the future, right? So they're thinking, well, we'll give up a little bit of profit right now during this contract season, because it'll give us better leverage within the contract to keep wages down, to keep benefits down. That way we can make that money back in the future. So they're thinking in the future. Yeah, we're going to raise our prices and ship all the stuff in the future. So we'll make the profits there, and we'll lose a little profits during these contract season, because we want the perception that we're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it comes down to. And so, there's so much to go over within, this contract season and what to expect. And I think we'll continue to talk about it, right? We'll continue to go ahead and go over the things.
Definitely going to continue this conversation.
That being said, I think we're going to kind of close out the show for the day. We've gone over a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot to chew on. There wasn't too many fun story times this time.
Unfortunately.
I love story time, so
we're still waiting on Sabas.
He needs to do his
story. He needs a story time.
He needs to do his get to know you segment. So hopefully next week we can get that in. But that being said, we appreciate you guys tuning in every week. We're just here talking shop. And in all honesty, this show is a little different than we've normally done. We're in a different couch, right? I'm in Sabas' seat where he usually sits, or over there. I'm in the guest seat, whatever.
He's really comfy.
Yeah, it is.
Just
it is
so you guys
pretty
know,
comfy.
he's
We're over
really
there
comfy.
sitting on the table for the most part, usually. But, like I said, we're going to have a lot to kind of go over, to chew on. We just appreciate you guys tuning in every week. Please like, subscribe, share. Like I said, if you're my friend, you're probably going to get a text message with the show link, because we want to get everybody involved. We want everybody to understand what's going on, and whether you're a Teamster, not a Teamster, whether you're a unionist or not a unionist, or a union member.
Yeah.
We want you to understand what's going on. We want you to know what life is like being in a union. just all that stuff that comes along with it. So we definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. Share. Thank you guys.
You can also email us at ocst.000@gmail.com.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Cheers, guys.